everybody. Welcome to the Everything Paranormal Show. I'm your host, Josh Morris. And tonight we're going to be talking about the serious coronavirus and really some things that we're going to talk about, whether we think it's supernatural or man-made. I don't think there's many people that believe it's just a natural disease. I think there's a lot of people leaning toward one or the other. So we're just going to take a look at some things. And again, it's a very serious thing right now. This is a worldwide thing, whether you want to believe it or not. Even though it did originate in China, we are getting cases obviously here in the United States. It's very, very serious. So I want to talk about that tonight. So stick around, guys. We got a good show. Hopefully you'll enjoy everything on this. So it is a live show, so bear with me. So yes, tonight we're going to be talking about the coronavirus, COVID-19. So what exactly is the coronavirus? Well, the coronavirus really originated around animals. You have the coronavirus has been around, like different versions of it has been around animals for a while now. But apparently this new strain or this new version, which again, the COVID-19, apparently it again is something that humans are getting, much like when there was SARS. If you guys remember when we had the SARS scare, and that was going on, that was a big thing as well. A lot of people were panicking about that. So we're going to look at some different things. Like, first of all, I want to cover what exactly the coronavirus, I want to kind of cover the basics. So because a lot of people are kind of wondering stuff about it. A lot of people are, it's all over the news. It's out there everywhere. So bear with me. Again, this was a live show. So how does it spread? Well, according to the CDC, this information is straight off the CDC. And, again, it can be spread. It's just like going to be a lot of your flu and colds, close contact, 6 feet apart. Again, when people are coughing and sneezing, they're not covering their nose or covering their mouth. Again, droplets can land, microscopic droplets, things like that. People can land in their mouths, noses, things like that. Also touching surfaces or objects that have the virus on it, and then of course touching their own mouth, nose, eyes. But it's of course not the main way, or at least what it's thought to be. Keep in mind, some of these things are going to be, the scientists are going to say yay or nay. There's still some speculation that there's not 100% accuracy on what it's developing. So again, keep that in mind as we talk about the coronavirus. Spread, when is it thought to be happen, as you can see from the CDC. And it's of course when it's at their sickest is when it's thought to be spread. So if you do get sick, whether it's flu, whether it's a cold, and you're at your sickest, look, right now especially, do not go into work. Seriously, folks. I know sometimes we have it pretty rough with our sick days. Right now there's a lot of companies that are very understanding about this. Okay, this is one of those things where we're sort of coming together as a globe, as a United States. Terry Lynn, my wife, she just chimed in and said, hey, that she heard that they're even price gouging masks. Hopefully not. Folks, it might be good to probably go ahead and get some. I don't want to add to that price gouge. But yeah, you should always probably have some of those as well. And I think we're going to see some of that with just normal humanity, whether it's hurricanes or anything like that. You're going to see some price gouging. So hopefully, for those of you out there that own hardware stores, don't do it. So as we can see, we get into a little bit of the symptoms. So the symptoms, again, fever, cough, and there's also going to be a little bit of shortness of breath with it as well. So just keep that in mind as we talk about the symptoms of it. And I guess my slide came up as prevention. So let's talk about prevention. So on prevention, you're definitely going to want to, again, disinfect surfaces, take showers after, especially being out in public, things like that. You know, those are always going to be the things. And I know, like, I have to go in and out hospitals quite a bit. So I know that my wife's always like, take a shower when you get off from the hospital. So yeah, we're starting to do that, where like every time I come home now, it's going to be hopping in the shower. After even if I took one earlier that day, it doesn't matter from my other job. So yeah, taking showers, washing hands, those type of things. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. You know, sometimes if I've got to do that, I try to use other, like my wrist or something, you know, things like that. But these are again common things I want to talk about. And of course, you can go to your CDC. So, and then the big Rich show popped in tonight. He said, unless it's a modified gas mask, it won't help you. It can go in through the ears and eyes as well as skin. And you know, certainly, I think that if the virus is going to come into you, again, if you're close contact, I mean, it's going to be your best bet is to reduce the chances as much as possible. I mean, you're probably never, unless you're like in a full on biosuit, you're not going to be 100% protected. So just keep that in mind. But that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Treatment wise, again, there's not a lot that can be done right now for treatment. It's going to be just like a flu or anything else. So obviously you're going to want to stay hydrated. You're going to want to keep, you know, fluids in you like that. And of course, relieving symptoms, those type of things. Hey, we got some new people in here. Breeze, Netgear, thank you for props for using your platform to talk about this. And again, I want to thank you guys for popping in there to say that. Hi to I See You See Me. Yeah, I mean, we do talk about paranormal mainly on this show, but with coronavirus being so big, we definitely want to talk about it. And we're going to talk about some of the angles of it a little bit as well. And I See You See Me says, I don't think there's any avoiding it. People in China wore masks and still got it. Well, again, the best thing you can do is try. Just try to reduce as much as possible, right? There's a good chance that you probably won't get it. Although there is projections that do say that they're looking at 70% of the population of the world getting it. As far as fatality rates goes, we'll talk about that in a second. But the actual first, treatment. So the first positive case of COVID-19, the coronavirus, that version was in the U.S. was actually back in January 21st of this year. Since then, now again, that was in America. That was the first case, was actually back in January 21. But as far as the origins, that's where we're going to go into, as you see here, Wuhan, China. Now, Wuhan, there's a population of around 11 million people, and then there is, interestingly enough, okay, Wuhan we're going to talk about the city itself, but this is sort of the epicenter of where the coronavirus started, okay? So that's definitely something that we need to keep in mind is Wuhan, China, right? 11 million people. And that's about 2.5 million more than New York City, just to kind of put it in perspective on the scale of Wuhan. So let's take a look at what makes this, what kind of makes some of this a perfect storm, if you will. Now again, we're going to dive a little bit into conspiracy style type stuff tonight. But again, you can either consider it either just the perfect storm, like if you think it's a natural progression of things, that's up to you. Again, this was coronavirus, the versions were among animals. Now, this hasn't been the first time in history our diseases have crossed paths. Animal diseases and human diseases, we've crossed paths, and our bodies have built up immunes to them. But again, is this stuff that's being man-made, being manufactured, altered? Are they studying these animal diseases and trying to find ways? Again, I don't know. That's where we get into the conspiracy stuff. So if you think about it, right, Wuhan, let's think about it. Right now, China, if you were a man-made disease, where would you want to put your disease? Where would you want to release it? Now, on the CDC website, they talk about, not causing fear, not causing panic. Now, remember, I'm not trying to incite that. I'm not trying to incite any kind of panic or fear. And they also are, I guess there's a lot of people that are targeting Asian people specifically. Now, again, we're not here to be racist toward Asian people at all. In fact, I'm not even insinuating it's their fault. They would lead you to believe that it's their animal markets that is at fault, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But in any case, we're not here to point the fingers in that regards to Asian people or anything like that, or cause panic. What we are talking about is some possibilities, right? If you are going to release your man-made, if you're going to develop something, if you're going to skewer some diseases and prep things, you're going to find it's easy to say China is one of the countries that you're going to release it in. All right, now if you look right up here, okay, that tells you that China, when it comes to the world most populated cities, China has 4 out of the top 5 of the most populated cities. And in China alone, Wuhan is the 9th most popular city. So you might think, well, why wouldn't you release it in Shanghai or like another higher populated city? Well, again, you can pick whichever one. But, and just to kind of round out like the top 10, in case you were wondering, India, Turkey, Pakistan, and Bangladesh kind of round out some of the other ones in the top 10 as well. So some of that Middle Eastern, that's why we're starting to see coronavirus over there as well. Now, again, Wuhan is like the 9th most populous city in China. Now, so why would you possibly select that city? Well, again, depending on how you're going to release it or whatnot, keep in mind that Wuhan is actually a major transportation hub. Okay? In fact, it's often referred to as the Chicago of China. Okay? In fact, what I find interesting is, you would think that they're pointing toward animal markets, right? However, according to GOG, the Globalization and World Cities Research Network, they are a beta class city. They have a moderate economic sort of impact to the world economy, so they are pretty decent in the world economy. But again, we're talking about a country that could easily infect the surrounding areas. Again, that transportation hub, especially China, right? And then, of course, directly to the Middle Easterns. I mean, we're hitting some heavy countries with some of the most highest populations, right? You're releasing this scary virus out there. So, again, they are looking at. So you might think, well, maybe this city is, full of like, maybe the city is full of like, animal markets and things like that. You picture maybe like, a Chinatown where there's all this meat hanging everywhere and all this stuff. Well, keep in mind that Wuhan actually has been known for manufacturing. It's been a manufacturing hub for decades, with scientific and technological developments, like development parks and all types of business, like several thousand technology centers, very, very much in technology and manufacturing. Now, they do have some live animal markets, and again, this is where scientists are this is where they supposedly are saying is the epicenter, is these live animal markets. But again, if you were going to target a city, this is a perfect place, with being the transportation hub, having an animal market. Again, you're going to want a cover story, right? But there's other cities with even larger meat markets. I mean, hell, Oklahoma has one of the top, meat markets in the world. There's some major animal markets and some major live animal markets out there. And especially after the SARS, a lot of China reduced their live animal markets quite a bit. Now, they have been slowly coming back. But again, this is what we're talking about. There's going to be people out there that's going to keep saying, well, this is just their fault. And I'm telling you, folks, keep your eyes open. All right, just keep your eyes open. As they're pointing to these animal markets, I'm telling you guys, it's not like this place is heavy animal markets. Again, we have much bigger live animal markets in other cities. So again, but Wuhan is making a good place for this virus. So I'm going to take a quick moment. Let's take a look. I'm going to try to catch up with some of these comments tonight. The Big Riz Show is scary. Yeah. Bob Fountain says, hey Bob, got my mask. I was certified decontamination instructor. This should be scary for everyone. Yes, Bob, very. My wife says pump vitamin C and colloidal silver. And Bob says, I did a study where I worked years ago when we had a bad flu epidemic to point out that 250 people touched the microwave doors and could have gotten infected. And all of that's true, guys. I mean, it's when you're dealing with virus and you're dealing with infections, I mean, it's so easy to spread germs. We try to be careful. I mean, nowadays, I've been getting in the habit of, especially in the wintertime, I've been wearing jackets. I've been grabbing the doors now with like my sleeve, instead of my fingertips. My wife and I have been making sure to not let our son touch the doors. Like, we've been getting the doors and everything. Again, with our sleeves. We try to sanitize our hands. I've been carrying sanitizer in my work vehicle and my personal vehicle. The 250. Bob adds that the 250 people that touched the microwave was just during lunch and didn't include meetings or other routine meetings. And again, when you have those high traffic areas in the workplace, like copy machines, microwaves, things like that, staplers, on people's desks that other people come by, staple stuff, or any type of those traffic, doors, doorknobs, all those things, bathroom doors, especially when they're sick, they're running to the bathroom because they didn't call off work, right? Again, guys, if you're at work, watch those things. So one thing I want to talk about is civet cats in China. They were suspected of carrying the virus for SARS, that caused SARS. But the scientists actually thought that it originated with bats. There has been some study that even bats may have even be the source of the coronavirus that we're looking at as well. So I'm not sure. Again, scientists doesn't even seem to be sure. They said civet cats, bats. Scientists are saying bats. They're not sure on the civet cats. So there's some misdirection going on. I don't know if that's intentional or they just really don't know. But guys, again, sometimes you got to read between the lines in some of this. This coronavirus is pretty scary right now, and it seems to have timing. Now, I know in the mainstream media they have been talking about some of this is being politicized, because why now? Like, why is this virus emerging all of a sudden? Things like that. Is it political? Is this something that's targeted to affect the politics right now? Because let's face it, this is starting to impact the market. For the first time in a while, the Dow is down. We've been on such a climb. We've been climbing with this market for so long under President Trump, and now we're starting to see a decrease in the market. And already, because we got an election coming up, the opposing side, the Democrats, are already starting to utilize the downfall of the market a little bit. But I think, no matter what side of the fence you're on, whether you're Republican or Democratic, I think you pretty much are smart enough to see that any type of world economy is going to go down right now, with major cities, especially like Wuhan and other places that are starting to shut down. I mean, China's really putting some lockdown, and they're a big part of the market. They're part of that world market. So again, it's going to affect the overall stock market and everything else. So we're going to see some of the fallout economically, but it will recover. That's the great thing about the market. It will come back. It's a strong market. It's a healthy market. I think we'll see that. So what else, other reason could this virus be out there? Well, other than me accidentally turning off my slideshow. So let's get back to where we were. I'm going to run through my slide. Here we go. Look, speed. This is a live show, folks. This is what happens if you press the wrong button. All right, so we'll get back to here. Here we go. So another reason why this virus may be manufactured: population control, folks. It's been a thing, right? Population control has been a massive, conspiracy for a long time, and what better way to keep trying to tweak a virus that can just enough affect a population, right? So think about it. This now some of you may be wondering, what's the fatality rate on this? Actually, right now it's 2%. Okay, out of the people that's affected by it, there's a 2% fatality. So that's, in the grand scheme of things, that's not too bad. But you got to remember, when you're talking about the world population, and if the projections go to 70%, we're talking still I think it was 2%. I think overall, even in America, it might be a few million deaths or something like that. But it's still a lot. I mean, when you really think about it, for the world population, maybe not a lot, but enough, right? Death is death. I mean, it's horrible. It's tragic. So, again, 2%, it may not seem like a lot, but still a lot of lives. It's a little bit of that thinning of the herd, right? A little bit of that thinning of the masses. All right, we've got some extremely overpopulated places, and guess where the virus is hitting? Some of the most populated places, for sure. Okay? So that's another thing. Some may even argue that this could also be the sort of training grounds for the big one. Okay? It's possible that, yes, they are manufacturing certain new diseases out of these animal diseases and releasing them into the population. Okay? And as they release these in the population, they're studying the effects of how quick does this spread, all these type of things, and they're letting it work itself out. They're releasing it, and they're saying, okay, and then the CDC is trying to combat it. They're actually trying to see what people are doing to combat, to fight against it, to try to stop it. And again, as they keep working on it, they're perfecting something. What are they perfecting? Well, some people think the big one could be coming. And this is where your theories of zombies, folks. This is that big theory of some type of zombie virus. I know it sounds a little crazy, a little out there, but the more you think about it, it's starting to get a little scary. We've seen other things with zombie-like symptoms. So again, as they're sort of testing the waters with these other viruses, and I'm not saying that coronavirus is going to be a zombie virus. I'm saying if they're working on a zombie type of virus, these are the testing grounds. These are the ways that they're testing our responses, our reactions, where best to place these things so it can spread, all of these different testing grounds for potentially the big one, right? So that's another big theory. Bob weighed in and says another conspiracy theory is that the aliens are thinning the herd. And who knows, if there's aliens out there and they want to thin the population, things like that, by all means, they could be genetically engineering some of our viruses. Again, this could go hand in hand with all the stories of aliens abducting people and the probes, probing things, all those type of stories of people getting studied on by the aliens, things like that. So, of course, if they were taking samples, if they were studying us, so they could potentially be manipulating our own diseases and things like that. So again, it may not even be a government base or a global organization that could be doing this. It could be a source like the aliens. This is why talking about these conspiracies is fun sometimes, because you can definitely come up with something. It's fun and scary. I mean, think about it, because it's scary because we're like the sheep out there and they're hunting us. You know what I mean? There's like the wolves. So it can be a little scary sometimes. And Bob says, just remember what the U.S. did with syphilis to a select group in the past. So I don't know that story. I don't know about syphilis with a select group in the past. Sounds like some shore leave or something. It's like a bad case of shore leave. But yes, you can definitely look at that. Now, if you want to get away from man-made, because I did say, is this supernatural or a man-made killer? Then you could look at biblical, right? Is this a biblical type of plague from God? I personally don't believe that. I think that the plagues and some of the things that are outlined specifically in the Bible, I think, one, we've seen similar things like that's occurred, but personally, I'm not convinced that this particular virus is a plague from God. I think it lines up more with a perfect spread from something man-made. Again, giving the city that it's a transportation hub. Technically, it does have these live animal markets also, but it's in China. It's all near areas of extreme population with these transportation hubs that are easily getting to. And again, we see it's already, spread in multiple countries already, causing thousands of deaths so far. Like I said, I think we're up to around 82,000, I believe. So I'm not totally convinced that it is, and I don't have a huge case for supernatural, despite the title of the show, Supernatural Man. I'm more toward man-made killer. I really am. Now, again, we could look at natural. For those of you that are not conspiracy theorists or biblical plague type or even aliens, all right, so there's going to be your people that's just going to take it for face value that this was an animal-based disease and it is a mutation or a new version that mutated, however that happens in nature, right? And it's just affecting us, and we're gonna heal it. And again, you can take it at face value too. So it really just depends on what you did. So Bob said that the U.S. government gave syphilis to African Americans in the South and didn't treat them to see how the disease ran its course. Yeah, that sounds messed up. And again, I think if you have, when you have those type of cases, and I tried to have a lot of research for you guys today on the coronavirus. I wish I would have had even more on some of our history of diseases. Maybe if maybe in the future we can tackle more diseases and conspiracy theories with, like Bob saying, maybe we can even tackle more into looking into when the government did, infect African Americans with syphilis, these type of things. Because if you can do that, then it's very plausible that you could do this in Wuhan, China, right? I mean, again, I think you guys have seen tonight, I think you've seen tonight that it is a popular city in China. Again, China holds, and not just even in the 4 out of the top 5 most populated cities, but they have another one like number 8, number 12. I mean, they, again, huge populations in China, the Middle East, all right there, all right in these hubs. So it just makes sense to, if you're going to release something, you're going to release something. And I'm not trying to cause panic. I'm not trying to cause people to just be like, oh man. But again, we try to seek the truth, right? We try to seek the truth on this show, usually with paranormal. But again, we don't know the big picture. We don't know what's going on in this. Again, if you want to talk conspiracy or even supernatural conspiracy, you can go all the way to the fact that the devil is, really in charge of this earth right now. If you really want to look at the biblical side of things, and we're waiting for revelations, so Jesus can come down and put the devil away in hell, and we can have 1,000 years of peace. So if you really want to look at biblical proportions, we could always look at, again, this is all part of sort of this hell on earth right now that we're experiencing. But again, I do tend to lean that it's more man-made. So what does this all mean, though, in the end for normal folks like us? Well, it's washing your hands, disinfecting stuff. Try to be as careful as you can on when you're out in public, and you're especially in those shared spots. Again, with my couple jobs that I work, I do try to protect my family. I know my wife kind of gives me grief because I'm not normally the type to reach for the sanitizer every single time, wash my hands every single time. But there is key moments that I actually do that, even when she's not around and I'm at work. There is those key moments that I do actually try to, or I actually do use my sanitizer that she got me in my vehicles, and I will sanitize my hands. So if, again, for me, it's just do your best to avoid, right now, especially if you can stay indoors. I mean, normally I'm like, hey, go out. I don't want this economy to completely tank right now, but I also have confidence in our economy because of what the foundations that's been built over these last 4 years, 3 or 4 years. I think that we have a strong economy. I think that we're going to get through this for sure, just like we did with SARS or the Ebola scares, and like all these things. We've had other scares like this before. We've had the images of people in China with masks on. Again, it seems to originate there, and it's not, I don't think it's their fault. Again, I think this is where it's unfortunate, but China is the really epicenter for anybody that wants to release anything, that's where it's going to be, because again, it's that population, and it's going to spread to the world quickly, or you know what I mean. It's so, unfortunately, this is the place that you're going to release something like that. So no offense to China or Asians, it's nothing like that. I'm not trying to be racist toward them at all. That's just unfortunate because of their population. So if anything, I feel bad for them. So in any case, if you guys have any other questions or things that you'd like to throw in there, I know my wife said, that I go in everybody's home, and it's true. I do go in a lot of homes. I try not to touch a lot of things in homes. I pretty much just go in and do what I've got to do, and I touch a lot of things that don't commonly get touched, because I'll touch like cable wires and cable connections, things that people aren't really back there messing with a whole lot. And again, that's why I try to still use my sanitizers. Like, even at the end of the day, I've been trying to avoid touching my mouth and eyes and things like that lately. Let's see. Hi, Inferno. China is gaining stability. They passed peak contagion. I'm so glad that I'm homebody. Hi, Andrea Trombley. Well, yeah. Again, welcome to a lot of people in the live chat. I appreciate you coming in here and talking about that. Again, yeah, when you get to stay at home, that's awesome. Anybody that works from home, or if again, like my wife, she's a homebody. She does a lot at home she sort of manages our YouTube stuff and our social media at home. She takes care of her son with his tennis career, and again, she's like that multitasker, right? But she really gets to work from home a lot, and that's awesome. Unfortunately, I get to go out there in the public, but at the same time, I try to be select about it. I really do, only because of just the false security out there. I try to be very careful and try not to get that false security. So, but yeah, I really do think that we're going to end up, getting past this soon. I do. I hope that we don't. In all honesty, guys, I honestly hope I'm wrong. Okay, I really do. I hope that I'm wrong, that it's not any kind of man-made disease. This thing, look at this thing. I'll just pop it back up here. This thing's crazy looking. You know what I mean? Look at that. That's from the CDC, by the way. So, that thing's just scary, It looks unreal. It looks very alien, doesn't it? But I hope I'm wrong. I do. I hope that it's just natural, and it would be nice if some of these theories and conspiracies, it'd be nice if they weren't true, right? Sometimes you don't want to believe in some of that, but unfortunately, things sometimes really steer us in that direction. I look at it and I just look at, man, this city is just this hub, and it's really technology and all these things, but yet they're pointing to these animal markets, and I don't know, it's a little convenient for me sometimes, but it could be either way. Yeah, and my wife said, yeah, she thanks God that our son's in doing school online, no public schools. And that's something too that I want to throw out there for people that might watch this, that may have kids, is, look, in a lot of states, they're doing homeschooling. If you go to K12.com, there's a lot of states that do homeschooling. And the thing is okay, so let me just clear up this stigma. So there's a lot of parents that are afraid that their kids, if they're homeschooled, the parents are like, oh God, I don't want to teach my kid, like I got to teach them stuff. Look, there's a difference. There's homeschooling when the parents are the teachers and they're in charge of these things, And then there's online public school. Okay. Our son goes to online public school. So that means they send all the materials, the science equipment, everything he needs. And he is able to attend classes online, do his homework, schooling, with just a little bit of guidance. But he is able to go to school online. And it's amazing. He gets a great education, but most importantly is he's not around a bunch of kids sneezing in his face. Now, if you're worried about socialization, well, he plays sports. He plays tennis. He gets to go out and play with his friends and, goes to tournaments and is around other kids and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes he may get sick from kids at tennis academy or something. That does happen every once in a while. You know who you are. But it's very minimal. Like when he was the last time he was in public school, God, he missed like 40 days or something. It was like for the whole year. It was like something insane. He was just like sick. I think my wife that year was sick 4 or 5 times. I think I even got sick like 2 or 3 times, all in that last public school. But then once he went to online public school, I mean, he might get sick maybe once, maybe twice in a year, maybe. My wife, she'll get sick once, maybe twice in the year, and like I've been rarely sick now, like once every couple of years. So it really does help. And I just think ultimately it's just such a good solution. If people can do that, I would definitely recommend you do that. Because, these coronaviruses, and there's going to be more. I guarantee it. It eventually will get to where, just like we don't talk about SARS anymore, eventually we won't talk about the coronavirus anymore. It'll be something else, right? And then it might be even spread faster and be more deadly. I mean, again, I think they're getting a little more and more scary sometimes. I think they're trying to be perfected. That's just my opinion. So, but yeah, I mean, and my wife brought up a point too, is like every time they turn around, like the local schools are shutting down because of the flu season and everything else. I mean, when I grew up as a kid, we never shut down for flu season. We never did. Like snow days, yeah. Never flu season or something. Now it's like almost every year now they're starting to shut down. All these kids are sick and they're having to shut down and disinfect the entire schools. And it's like I always just tend to wonder what happened from like when I grew up. What happened in the last 40, 50 years, right? To where these kids are getting sick massive in mass amounts compared to, like I said, when we were kids. I don't remember hearing about schools getting shut down at all. So what's changed over the last 40, 50 years? I thought with all the medicines and all the amazing things that we had in medical advances, you would think we wouldn't be getting sick hardly ever. So it really makes you wonder what truly is going on out there. Are they stringing us along, making us feel like all these advancements are amazing, but yet they're making us more sick? Cancer, all these things that probably, I'm sure cancer could be cured, right? All these things because of how much money these industries are making. So I don't know, guys. There's a lot of crazy theories out there about. We could really dive into some rabbit holes if we really wanted to. I'm trying to stay on topic with the coronavirus tonight because, again, we could dive into the whole scary world of cancer and immunization shots and, all these things. So they always tell you, take your immunization. There's some people that refuse to take immunization shots. I won't take them. Again, I don't know what's in them. I can't stand that. Bob says, I used to attend FEMA classes and watched the map projections of just simple flu outbreaks, and it's terrifying. Well, exactly. People still die from the flu. I mean, it's crazy. You wouldn't always think of it, but that's what I'm telling you, though. You've got to try to do your best to stay as healthy as you can, right? And I'm one to talk. I'm a big fatty right now, so I'm not exactly in the greatest health. But try to take your vitamins. Try to use your stuff. Right, the man, right? Big brother. Big brother. Andrew says the man. So I'm assuming she means like the big brother, big brother, right? So, all right, folks. Well, we got to start wrapping this up because I think tonight's show was very specific. And again, we normally talk about ghosts and spirits and, aliens and all kinds of cool paranormal stuff, but I just felt like this was a topic we really needed to address right now, was the coronavirus, and I really wanted to maybe just steer some people to open their eyes in the right direction of some conspiracy stuff, and really point out some reasons why this could be man-made, or why it almost definitely could be man-made viruses, especially given where it was released and all the things that I pointed out earlier. So I hope you guys enjoyed the subject. If you did, please click a like, share this with people. Again, I know it's not the most smoothest video, but this is live. I really like to handle all these things live for the most part. I think it's fun. I get to interact with you guys. It was great to have some new people pop in there tonight, and I hope I didn't miss anybody. Let me look here as I scroll through. I mean, I pretty much got everybody that I notice. A lot of people on here. My wife, Inferna, Andrea, Big Rich Show, all that. Andrea, I See You See Me. So yeah, I was hoping I didn't miss anybody. All right, folks. So remember, I do this every week. If you guys like, I do have a guest coming up next week. I want to say it's Southeastern Paranormal. So I think, Bob, you might have met these folks. I met them at the Outer Realm Fest, so I'm sure Bob may have met them as well. So I'm excited to have them on the show next week, potentially. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was Southeastern Paranormal. It's like, Josh, you don't remember who your guests are? Well, no, not always. Okay, so I'm wrong. It's not Southeastern Paranormal. See, this is why I look. Actually, it's Paranormal Help. All right, it's a group called Paranormal Help. So Southeastern Paranormal, if you're watching, you said you were going to be doing a show, so let me know. But they actually are wanting to come on. They just haven't been able to tell me which Thursday they want to be on. But actually, Paranormal Help is going to be here next week. So I'm actually really excited for that. Paranormal Help, what's really cool about them is that they are a group that more focuses on actually helping people that have been affected by paranormal. So I'm really curious to actually have a chance to talk with them, and hopefully, if you guys are really wanting to meet a different type of paranormal group, this is definitely going to be a good show for you guys to tune into, because again, they'll be able to sort of explain to you exactly what they do for people. So I'm really excited for that. So hopefully, you guys will tune in for that next week. But other than that, guys, remember, seek the truth. We'll see you next week.